What's good? Today we're talking Dwarf Dungeon. So for those who don't know, the Dwarf Dungeon is a low-level dungeon. I think the lowest, honestly, in Medivia. It's called the Crystal Mines Brewery. The required levels, as you can see there on the screen, ranges from 50 all the way to 125. And if you're above 140, you're gonna get level synced at Nightmare. It supports a party of around 4 players, but you could do it solo as well. The time limit, it's 60 minutes. And if you die inside the dungeon, you do not lose experience. If everyone dies, the dungeon fails. But if you die and at least one player survives, you become a ghost for about 30 seconds and you have the ability to respawn. So the objective of this video is to check whether doing solo is it worth this Crystal Mines Brewery. As you can see on the screen there, this is my easy run. I spent about 1 BP of UH, around 1 BP of UH, 1 BP of HMM, half a BP of GFBs, and 1 BP of Explosion. So the cost was around 8.6k. When it comes to the drops were pretty good. We see there a Knight Armor, Knight Axe, Adventure Boots, some ores, some bars actually, and 16k, and a Platino Amulet, and some rings. Which, in my view, it's pretty average for a solo run. It took around 12 minutes to do it easy. The profit was about 24k, and the profit per minute is around 2k per minute spent on this. Then it came the medium run, spent a little bit more, 2 BPs of UHs, 2 BPs of GFB, 1 BP of HMM, and half a BP of Explosion. The total waste was about 18,000. Now, as you can see the drops there, I sold it before all the valuables like amethyst, and that's the actual cash out of the sellable items. The only thing that I couldn't sell, of course, straight away was the Dwarven Axe and the Platinum Amulets, but it was a decent, okay-ish run. It took 15 minutes to complete, 18,000 profits, and around 1.2. I think this one was on the lower end. It wasn't that great, honestly. Think I was unlucky on this one, but at least he paid for the supplies, and I got like 20k profits for about a 15-minute run. So that's pretty good in my book, anyway. Then we have the hard modes. Now the hard modes, I spent way more supplies. It was about 4.5 BPs of UHs, 3 BPs of GFBs, and 1.5 BP of HMM. The total waste was about 28,000, and the dungeon itself was on the limit of being actually hard. It was okay-ish. Compared to the previous ones, was a bit more. It was more challenging, but as you can see there about the drops, I think that was the best run when it came to profit per minute. We got an Adventure Boots, we got some Fire Axes, Night Legs, Platinum Amulets, a lot of jewelry with the amethyst and rubies, some gold rings, and so on. I will share the EXP as well by the end of the video so you can compare by yourself. But overall, the result was around 54,000 profits. That spent around 19 minutes, and the profit per minute was about 2.85k per minute, which it's really good in my view. And it wasn't too challenging. There were no times where I thought, oh, that's it, I'm most likely gonna die. The overall dungeon was pretty chill. The boss battle, a little bit more challenging than the previous zones, of course, but nothing that is impossible to solo out as an EK. And here is the boss battle. Then it comes the final one, the Nightmare modes. It is really difficult to do solo. If you don't pay much attention, you might die. And before we go there, I also like to focus a little bit on what you get out of this dungeons. Not only the rewards that I show you, but you have a 7% flat chance of getting a reward box, which comes normally some decoration items, as well as you have the chance of getting General Ring of Warding, which is really good for knights, at least mid-level knights. Since we cannot use a Ring of Purity, you can get some golden mine ticket cards, you can get some outfits, so get 100 tokens per nightmare run, and there is a breakdown. I think it's 20, 40, 60, 80, for the other ones. But the list is on the patch notes, the recent patch notes, because this was recently changed anyhow. When it comes to the actual run, that was very challenging by itself, like as a knight anyway. There were moments where, especially the archers, they hit with fire on this one. I had to swap between the Amulet of Elements. As you can see there, the supply spent was pretty... it was about 10 BPs of UAges, 1 BP of Explo, 5 BPs of GFBs, and 2.5 BPs of HMMs. So the total waste was about 55,000, which is a considerable waste if you think about in Legacy anyway, for a 35-minute engagement. Now when it comes to the items, it was pretty good actually. We got a Knight Armor, Knight Legs, Far Axe, Knight Axe, Dwarven Axe, Platinum Amulets, some Wolframite bars, some the red ones, which I can't recall the name now, it's a very complicated name to say, some polished amethyst, polyrubies, and a lot of cash and a lot of small amethysts and rubies. Overall, the profit was about 90k, which is really good for 35 minutes. The profit per minute was a bit below the hards, but could have been luck, either extra luck on the hard modes or below average luck on the nightmare modes. But I was pretty content with the results. 2.5k per minute, that is pretty good. Now you think, is it worth doing it? That's an interesting question. I mean, in low rate servers like Legacy, Liberty, Destiny, I believe so, yeah. At least as a knight, level 140 with goodish equips. By the way, there's a level cap of 140, a level sync, I would say. So irrespective if I'm 300, 500, my level is going to be synced to 140. So I'm going to say as a 140 plus, I believe it's worth it, yeah. Because you think about it, for example, Necromantica. You go sometimes, you spend about 30 minutes to do a whole Necromantica run, and you can get like a 5k rewards, maybe a 100k rewards. Most times you get like a 20, 25, 30k rewards. So in those cases, like in my view, at least for now, would you choose to do a nightmare run on Dwarf Dungeon that you get guaranteed profit anyway, which is about 50k plus, and in my case here was 90k? Or would you prefer to go to Necromantica if you only have those 30 minutes to play? I mean, yeah, so in my view, I think it's better than Necromantica. I'm not saying it's great anyway. So the EXP is around 71k on normal, 81k on medium, 104k on hard, and 136k on nightmare. Now 136k for 35 minutes, that is way below average. So I wouldn't do this to farm EXP, I would do this to possibly get some money on low rate servers. Now high rate servers, if you're over 140, you most likely can do more than 90k in a 30-minute hunt by just hunting like frost dragons or anything of those sorts, just because the drop rates, you could definitely profit out at way more than you can in Legacy, for example. So hopefully this helped some of you. Now this is very exclusive for knights. I don't believe mages would have an easier time than knights do. Paladins might if they can kites and GFB around, but mages, I don't think it's worth using mana rings. But if you don't, it's possible that you get shot by the archers pretty easily, because the archers most times they were leaving me on red or deep yellow in one turn. So that's more than enough to down a mage or druid that is not using mana ring. That's the video, guys. Leave the like and subscribe, and do share in the comments if you have tried that run solo and how did it go for you. Cheers.